Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. This is the RTE Internship Programme 2026 Information Webinar. You're most welcome for joining. I'd like to introduce myself first. My name is Emma Curry. I am part of the RTE internship team in RTE. I'm joined by my colleague Lily Sakamoto, who's also part of the internship team. And we have various colleagues from around the organisation whose areas are taking in an intern this year, who we'll be chatting to later. But I'll just give you a brief rundown. We have Mary Corcoran from commercial, we've Liam Murray from broadcast and media services, we've Claire Cunningham from design, we have Connor Devlin, who is a former intern and now works in RTE. And today's session will be assisted by an ISL interpreter. Catherine White joins us this evening, and she will be translating everything that we say. We'll be working at a little bit of a slower pace. So bear with us while we get through the information, and we'd like to welcome Catherine to this meeting also. So let's get started. We want to just make everybody aware that this webinar will be recorded and it will be shared. So we won't be mentioning anyone's names or anything like that when we get to the Q&A later on. So just to say that there should be no um, fear of this going up online, but if there is, you're most welcome to email us at internship.ie, internship@rte.ie, and if not, then it'll be available for you to watch from later on this evening, if you so wish. So I'll run through what this webinar will take. So we've gone through the introductions. We're then going to go through a presentation. Lily Annie is going to go through that with us. I'm going to go through an application form with you very quickly. We're going to ask our guest speakers to talk about their areas, and then we'll have a bit of time at the very end, which will discuss any questions that we might have. So the question and answers tab is at the top of your page where it says Q&A. You can click on that. You get a little box to write your question into. You press go, and then it comes to us. We'll read it out at that time and we'll give you a few answers then. Okay. So first of all, I'd like to call on Liliani to go through our presentation and talk about the program that is the RTÉ Internship 2026. Take it away, Liliani.
Thanks, Emma. I just wanted to address something because somebody did pop in to the Q&A that they couldn't see the interpreter. So I just want to make sure I've spotlighted her now, so everybody should have her on screen. But if you can't, just please pop in a question in the Q&A. So as Emma mentioned, I'm just going to go through the internship. So from the ad, it's a 6-month and it's a paid program. So the salary, it's 32,141 per year. Adjusted for the 6 months you're going to be with us, it's then translates into 16,070 euros 50 cents. So just to make that clear, so it is paid program. Hands-on experience. So you are going to be hearing from the different, from commercial, from design. Emma's going to talk about content creative internship, and Liam is going to talk about the broadcast and media services one. So there is going to be a training. You're going to have an assignment or throughout your program, and you're going to be working on real world projects in RTE. Some of the interns would have been on air. Some of the technology interns were working on tech programs that were ongoing during their internship. And the placements are both in English and in Irish, as you probably saw from the ads. So that's a little bit the internship in a nutshell. The different strands, Emma's already mentioned, but they're there on screen. So content creatives, including sport, design, broadcast and media services, commercial, and Gaeilge. And you're going to hear about each one of the strands in a little bit more detail later on from our guest speakers. Next then is just to cover a few of the key dates. So the application deadline, it's midnight, February 25th. So you want to make sure that you give yourself plenty of time and you have your application done before then. The recruitment days then are on the 8th and 9th of April. So the 8th of April is a full day on site. So you need to make sure that you are available for that. And it's a smaller cohort. Not everybody who applies is going to get invited, but we're going to look at all of the applications and invite some of you to the assessment day. The April 9th, it's going to be a chat. So again, some of you will be invited and you'll be given a slot prior to the date. So you will know, when you need to make yourself available, and it's probably going to be about a half an hour. You will find out about whether you're going to be invited or not, probably about 3 to 2 weeks out from those dates. The start date then of the internship is June 2nd, and there is mandatory training in person in Donnybrook from June 2nd to the 19th. So if you are not available on those dates, unfortunately, you won't be able to qualify because the training is mandatory. So we want to try and set you up for success, for your time in RTE. So, the training dates are sort of non-negotiable. Yes. And then the end date is December 4th. So those are the key dates. You will, it's like any role you take, you will also be entitled to holidays. So probably in and around 10, 11 days, depending on how your contract falls, but you will also have time off. But as I said, those training dates are crucial. In terms of the application form, you don't have to submit a CV. There is no cover letter. It's not your traditional recruitment process. And as Emma said, she's going to, walk you through the whole form. It's going to consist of just some personal information and 3 prompts. For each one of the strands, you're going to have different prompts. The first one is probably going to be the same for most of them. But what we ask you to do is to read the instructions really carefully. What I would recommend as well, that you take it offline, just copy and paste your prompts onto a Word document, on a notepad or whatever it is, so that you can do your reflection, really, work on your answers, make sure you put in, your best foot forward, everything that you can, make you stand out. And then when you're ready, go back into the form, and then copy and paste your answers into the form so you can submit a lovely clean copy. Um, so that's it for the form. In terms of support, what we mean by that, if again you need an ISL interpreter for the day of the assessment, or if you need accessibility in terms of like wheelchair access, anything like that, the earlier you let us know, the better, so we can have it organized and ready for you the day of the assessment. So that's what we mean about the support. So I'm going to hand you back to Emma now, who's going to walk you through the application form.
Perfect. Liliani, thank you so much for that. So I was never blessed with tech abilities, so bear with me while I get my screen up for you here. 1 second. Just hold the line, as they say. No. Yeah. Okay. Are we seeing that, Liliani? Are you seeing?
Yes, yes,
Perfect.
yes.
Okay. So disregard this for a second. This is just my internal page. But if I was to post rte.ie/vacancies into my search bar, and I press enter, this is where I end up on RTE's public vacancy page. Okay. And then we're going to scoot down to the end of that page and you'll see the 5 internships detailed here. So just a reminder, we have a broadcast and media services internship, which will be discussed by Liam later on in this webinar. We have a commercial internship, which Mary will talk about later on. We have a design internship, which Claire will talk about later on. We have an internship Oscuelga, which we had a webinar about this afternoon, and we will give you all the links to the webinars at the end of this webinar in the chat. And then we have the Content Creatives Internship. So I'm going to take you through the Content Creative Internship application form, just to give you an idea of what they look like, how they're presented, and what you do. So all of these five internship application forms are similar to look at, but they all have different information on them. So just keep that in mind, okay? So RTÉ Content Creatives Internship, I'm going to click on that. You're then brought onto the application page where you get your title, you get a few, descriptions about the main information. So it's full-time working hours on site. It's located in Donnybrook, Dublin 4. And as Liliani pointed out earlier on, the salary is there per annum, and that would be at a pro rata basis for the 6 months while the internship is going on. So expecting that to be halved. So the job details, you get all these prompts just about what we talk about. So it gives you a little bit of background about our internship, that we're Ireland's leading internship. This is a paid position. We won an award last year for the internship program. Tell me a bit more. It's 6 months long, where you'll be working across video, audio, news, current affairs, etc. The important bits at a glance. This will be on every of the application forms, the salary, the duration, the mandatory training as we discussed, the placement site, so Dublin. If you get an Irish placement, you could be in Connemara or one of our regional offices in the Gaeltacht. The working pattern is Monday to Friday, but there might be some evening work and weekend work. There's no hybrid option available, and this is an in-person experience. And the most important date for you right now is February the 25th at midnight is the deadline for applications. So repeating what Liliani mentioned just before we started this demo, there is no CV, no cover letter, no previous media experience required. We're just interested in you. And there's a few more details there. This area here details other internships here in RTE, a little bit of information about sport, a little bit information about the training, a little bit of information about the assessments. Again, April 8th in person in Dublin, April 9th online, and any accommodations internship at rte.ie. What you need to know before applying, if you need any further information, everything is detailed here at this link, RTÉ Internship and RTÉ Jumpstart. And are you ready to go? And if the answer within you is yes, you press apply now. So that brings us to the application form. Again, you have the title here, so you know what you're applying for. Your basic information, your name, your address, your country, your email, your phone number. This area here, applicant source and employee referral, this is only for us as the internship team to track where you came upon the ad. This has no bearing on the internship application at all. If you have no answers, you can see there's numerous options. If you don't have an answer, that's okay. You can write other. If you came upon it on Facebook, you could jot that down there. It makes no difference to your application form. It just is a way of our team finding out how we got the information to you. So now we're on to the more important things of the application form. This particular application, you can choose to apply for general content creation or sport. So that would just indicate to us, the internship team, which area you think you'd be more suited for. So you fill that in. The first question on each of the application forms, so the 5 strands have the same first question, and that first question is, tell us a bit about yourself. So question 1, tell us a bit about yourself. And you've got prompts there about your background, your experiences, working with others, something creative. Have a read of all of the prompts. As Liliani said, maybe take the question offline onto a document or a notebook, write it out, and when you're ready to fill it in, this is where you put your 250 words. And as you can see here, I can just type away in that box and that will take your answer. Okay, then we move down to question 2 and question 3. So question 2 for this particular application form is perspective and ideas. Another 250 word paragraph. Have a read of the prompts of what's being asked of you. Think about it, take your time, read read it again, and then pop your answer into this area. And then we scoot down to question number 3. So question number 3, as I said, and question number 2 will be different across the 5 applications. Some of them are tasks, some of them are more paragraphs that you write. For this particular one, this is we are asking you to create a piece of media for 1 minute long in duration. So again, you take your time doing this, you follow the prompts of what we're asking you to do, all detailed for you there. And when you're ready to, when you have finished, you share a link directly to that. Now, we don't have the ability to ask you to attach media. You have to have it on some platform, and then you send us a link to that platform and or a password if necessary for us to be able to watch it. So that's very important. We can't take downloaded media, attached media. We can only take links to media. So please keep that in mind if you are applying for content creative. And that's the questions. Again, read them carefully. A little bit further down, this goes back to all of the application forms, your permissions to work in Ireland, your if it's permanent or temporary, your expiry date. And again, once again, as Liliani said, we are eager to provide accommodations to our employees or to our applicants. So if you need any assistance to come online, to come on site for the assessment days or further from that, please do let us know in time and we'll organise it for you and we'll make sure that you feel happy and safe when you come on site in Donnybrook. So once you're finished with all of that information, um, you can fill this out here. Do you wish for your personal data to be considered? Yes or no? Any answer is fine by us. And then when you're finished, you've read through it, you're happy that all the information that you provided is everything that we need to know about you, you press submit and then it's gone. Okay, so that is just one of the application forms. Um, the applications are open to everybody. So if you feel comfortable that you want to apply for content creative, but you also are fluent in Irish, you're most welcome to apply for the Irish internship. If you have an intern or an interest in operations and you also want to know a bit more about the commercial side of things, you're most welcome to apply for broadcast and media services and or the RTÉ commercial. So there's no limit on how many you can apply for, just as long as they align with your passion and your skills and your interest in that area. So that's my little demo. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and I'm going to go uh, just bring us to the to the room. And my screen is gone now there, Liliani, is that true?
Yes.
Wonderful. So I think we're ready maybe to talk about some of the areas, Liliani. Am I right in saying
Yeah,
that?
I think so.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to just give a quick rundown of content creatives. That was the application form that I went through there. And just to give you an idea of the areas that you'll be working in. You'll be working with teams on real content across video, audio, news, current affairs, and online. And you'll learn how public service media is made. So to break that down, we've had interns working for 2FM, for Radio 1, for news, for current affairs, on our social media team. We now have a podcasting internship as of this year. This is new to us, which is great. We're going to have a TV commissioning internship, where you learn all about the decisions that we make to bring media to air. We'll be having an internship in the lab, which is our in-house creative hub. We'll also be having an internship in RTÉ Player, which is our online platform. I already mentioned our internships as Gaeilge, and I've mentioned our internships on sport. So those areas are all covered under content creative. You'll be learning creativity, editorial decisions, production, research, and numerous other skills that go with working in the production side of media. So that's content creative. I now want to ask Liam Murray, who is joining us from the broadcast and media services area this evening. Liam, would you be able to tell everyone a little bit about broadcast and media services and what the internship for 2026 looks like in your area?
Thanks, Emma. Yeah, sure, no problem. So, so first of all, to say this is the first time that broadcast and media services have been in the RTÉ internship program. So we're really, really excited to be part of the program this year. So yeah, broadcast and media services is an operational unit within RTÉ. We're made up of 4 teams. So there's the regional operations team and the first line response team. But the 2 teams that are going to take part in the internship program are platform operations, which is managed by my colleague Jean Corcoran, and the media management area, which is the area that I manage within RTÉ. So yeah, it's a joint internship. So it'll be kind of half and half for the 6 months. As I said, we're really, really excited to be part of this program. We're really excited about, bringing an intern through our areas because we're really, really passionate about the work that we do for RTÉ. So yeah, we're operational. So what does that mean? We sit between, content teams and technology. We're the kind of cogs in the machine that kind of keep RTÉ on air, or studios on air, or our content delivery, media supply chain, chucking along. So very much operational. So in terms of the platform operations placement, what are you going to learn about? So you're really going to learn about how content gets from producers to going on air, whether that's on linear television, so RT1, RT2, or the RT player, or on radio. So it's really about the kind of end-to-end life cycle of media as it travels through what we would call the media supply chain. So you learn about how content is scheduled, and the kind of mechanics of how that all works. You will then learn about when content comes into RTÉ, so from the independent sector, outside of RTÉ, from the acquisitions area, which is the international suppliers of content to RTÉ, and the in-house productions. So you will learn about, as I said, how they are scheduled. You will learn about how programs are compliance viewed. So that's the editorial checks and the technical checks that content goes through before it can transmit on any of our platforms. You will also learn about how access services, so accessibility, is added to our programs. So that's subtitling, audio description, and ISL, Irish Sign Language. Then you will also learn about how content is played out on air on our linear channels on RT1 and RT2. So that's the platform operations element of the placement. There is a little bit of crossover then with media management. So on the media management placement, you'll really find out about how content comes into RTE from the various different areas that I spoke about. So that's the acquired sector, the independent sector. You learn how that process is managed. Again, you'll follow the media as it travels through RTE, even to archive on our new digital asset management system, which is just going live this week. You will also learn a little bit about live production and end-to-end live production, how that happens within RT. So on the media management side, my teams are responsible for recording all of our content onto our various systems. They are responsible for managing that content on our various systems, ensuring that the content teams have access to that content. So that's going to be a key kind of learning for the intern. We're going to focus on live sports production and the kind of role that our department plays in that. So that's from getting the feeds, as they're referred to, from the venues, from the sports venues. So how that process is managed within RTE, how those feeds are then captured and recorded into our systems, how we kind of manage the storage and how we ensure that people have access to that content. So the program makers, how they have access to that content. And then you'll also see a little bit about media operations as to some of the services that we supply. So our teams use sports industry standard technology such as EVS and Piero. So if you're a sports fan and you see at halftime analysis on a live sports event, that's generally my team providing those kind of operational elements, working in conjunction with the production team. And then, you'll see the content go out on air. And we will also, if, depending on the season, we also do some work at outside broadcasts on sports events. So you might get to see that as well, depending on the calendar and the timeline. So I think that's everything from a platform operations and a media management perspective. But again, just to say, we're really, really excited to be part of this program. So it's something new for us. So we're really, really looking forward to it.
That's great. Liam, thank you so much. And as I was saying yesterday, we had a similar webinar on these topics yesterday that I come from platform operations originally. I worked there for 9 years, so I would have worked with Liam and Jean over the years. And it really is such an interesting area to be in, and it really is at the front line of getting the content from the raw state that it comes into RTE in one door and getting all of the bells and whistles attached and then being put to air. So really excited, and thank you for all that description, Liam. That was amazing. So next we'll talk about our design internship, another newbie in the class of 2026. We're really excited about this, and we have Claire Cunningham here with us this evening to give us a little insight to what the design internship looks like and what fun things the intern will be working on. So Claire, take it away whenever you're ready.
Thanks so much, Emma. Yeah, so similar to Liam, really excited. This is the first design internship. So we're hopefully just excited as everyone else who applies to it. And the area is quite broad. The intern is going to be across 2 specific areas that we have in design. And we think within design as an area that kind of touches everything that you might see that RTÉ produces in some way or interacts with. So be it the content or be it the platforms, at some point there's probably been design fingerprints on it somewhere, and hopefully you'll see all those little touch points along the way. So on one side of it, we have what we would call graphics, broadly. So it would be the different content areas or genres like sport, marketing, news, current affairs, and they have a certain team. And within that, they'll be thinking about maybe how we would tell stories through design. So maybe how you can bring the energy and the rivalry to sport, and how you can communicate important national and world stories in news, or even how you might tell long form kind of storytelling and bring societal issues and current affairs and describe that a bit better, bring the audience through it. Um, and then you have things like marketing, where you will be looking at how we can, look at different demographics. How do we better market the shows to the right people, and we're bringing the right audience in at the right times. And then beyond that, we have a really interesting area within that that kind of works across all of those genres, which would be 3D and real time. So if you think of maybe what we would call LED walls or virtual production, so it's essentially these graphic spaces within a TV studio. So we'll be putting graphics and images and videos and lots of different kind of things into those walls, and trying to um, push everything we can do within a studio as much as possible, and merging that with the physical. So sometimes it might be augmented reality, and there's lots of cool experiments that we're doing at the moment there, and we'd love to bring people along and show what can be done, and how we can extend some of the ways we tell stories by using those tools as well. So that's a really fun part that I'm particularly interested in. And then we have another area which is very much complementary to that. So we have product design. So it's about all the different platforms. So if you think of the player, if you think of mobile apps like News app and the audio app that we're going to be coming, is going to be coming out this year, that's another element where design would be influencing the user experience. So it's not just the visual, it's actually how someone uses it, how someone interacts with it. And there's really interesting elements there, like accessibility, um, like sort of how universal those apps are, because you'll have the same application that loads of different types of people might use. So we have to be very aware of that, and we do a lot of testing. And so there's lots of interesting elements there that marry very well with the graphics. It's just sort of different ends of the spectrum. So we're hoping it will be a very interesting, exciting, varied internship. And we'd be looking for whoever we can lucky to get on board to bring them through all of those steps and sort of peer through and see how we work. So think that's it. But yeah, I'm very open to any questions anyone has. I'm looking forward to hearing them. Thanks, Emma.
That's wonderful, Claire. Thank you so much. And as you say yourself, I mean, design is everywhere, and it's everywhere with us in RTE. And as you say, it tells our story without us even, without, you wouldn't even recognize sometimes the power of design and the power of your department and what it does to carry us through. So very exciting. We're very excited to have you. And I think that was an excellent insight into what the intern will be up to in 2026. So thank you so much. I now call on Mary Corcoran from our commercial department. Mary, if you're there, could you tell us a little bit about the commercial area and what the internship looks like for 2026 with you guys?
Sure. Thanks, Emma. So I am in the commercial department, and obviously RTÉ has a formal remit in public service, but RTÉ also operates significant commercial activities, and the commercial department earns revenue from advertising and sponsorships and other commercial ventures, and all this commercial income helps fund the operations and the shows that we've talked about alongside the license fee. So I guess if you think about it in your own lives, any interaction that you have currently with any RTE product, where you see advertising, that will have been booked, managed, operated, delivered by the commercial department, whether that's the ads you see on TV, some pre-rolls you might hear ahead of a podcast that is managed by RTE, down to a display or a full page ad that you might see in the RTE guide. So there's a lot of touch points and a lot of platforms within the RTE umbrella. And it's the commercial department's job to commercialize the ad spaces that we have within all those devices. I guess the role within the commercial department is sort of twofold. There's the operational side of it, so the actual physical or manual operation of getting ads either to air or to print or to deliver across the player. But then there's also the sort of relationship side of the commercial department, and we work very closely with all of the top advertising agencies in Ireland, and we also work directly with clients and brands themselves who want to have their advertising deliver on RTE. So with those relationships, it's a lot of work for the sales and trading teams within the commercial department to have those strong relationships and work very closely with the advertising agencies to build up that relationship and that level of trust within RTE, that if they book a campaign, that it will deliver the numbers and the ratings or the impressions that their client is expecting. Personally, I work on the digital side of things, so I'm in the digital operations side. So any of the digital platforms, whether that's the player, the radio app, the news app, or the RTE.ie website, it's my team's role to ensure the delivery across those platforms. And look, we have a extensive job to do. The RTE.ie website is the most visited news website in Ireland. We're the biggest video on demand service on the RTE player, and we're the leading native news app in Ireland. So there is a lot of eyeballs out there that we need to ensure we're delivering clear and appropriate advertising to. Within this internship as well, and within many roles within commercial, we work very closely with a lot of our colleagues within RTE. Obviously, without content and without delivery of the content, which Liam spoke to, and without lovely, beautifully designed platforms, we can't deliver our commercial advertising. So we have really good working relationships across the organization, and they're key to us, enabling us to do our jobs. We have a lot of big events happening this year as well, and a lot of commercially lucrative, let's say, events coming down the line. We have the European qualifiers happening now in just over a month's time, so there is a lot of interest out there in the market for that event. We obviously have the World Cup, which we're planning for it with Ireland, planning for it without Ireland, two very different scenarios, but we're getting the market ready for both options because we have to. We have Traitors coming up then again in September, so that will start production now, filming in a couple of weeks. And obviously all of the sponsorship activity and all of the in-show sponsorships it's all pretty much locked in and ready to go now. So you're working in advance sometimes before a lot of actual output happens. And then the biggest night of the year from a commercial point of view is the Late Late Toy Show in December. So it's the biggest night of the year from a broadcast point of view. It gets the biggest numbers, and it's a show that a lot of specific clients want to be around. So they would probably be some of the key events that anyone who's successful in this internship application will be kind of facilitating and working and helping us alongside with. And that is pretty much it. I think, of course, any questions, more than welcome to answer, more than happy to answer. And I guess if there's further questions down the line, they could be facilitated as well. If you think of something afterwards, I'm more than happy to respond.
100%, Mary. Thank you so much. And yeah, it all comes back to the toy show in RTE, doesn't it? And it's something actually that the interns will learn in 2026, that all areas of RTE contribute on some way, shape, or form to the toy show, our biggest show of the year. So thank you very much, Mary, for that. Very exciting, as you say. 2026 has so many events and opportunities and experiences coming down the line, and the commercial intern will have a wonderful time. So thank you so much. And now, last but not least, of our guest speakers, I want to welcome Connor Devlin. Connor Devlin was our 2025 intern on the RTE Player, and has recently rejoined us here in RTE as an RTE multimedia coordinator. So you are seeing live from both sides, Connor. So first of all, can you tell us a little bit about your experience as an intern, and maybe give the guys some hints and tips on what to do when they're applying, how to keep a cool head, kind of what you think that would work in their favor, and any more kind of tips that you might have, nuggets of gold. That's what we're always looking for on information webinars like this. So take it away.
Thanks so much, Emma. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
We can.
So yeah, as Emma said, I was an intern last year in the RT Player and lucky enough to be back now as a multimedia coordinator. I was exactly like you guys are right now, sitting in this position listening to this webinar, so I know how you're all feeling. The most important tip I can give you when applying for the internship is to be unique and true to yourself. Try to stand out amongst the crowd because there are so many people trying to get into this internship program. So you got to try stand out from all of those people and stay true to yourself. Also think about what you can bring to the organization in your application. Show enthusiasm and be ambitious. Don't try and fit into an RT mold or a mold that you might have learned elsewhere. Be ambitious and try to be different. If you have time, I'd really recommend to take a look at the RT Statement of Strategy. That is our plan and map out for the next 4 years in the organization. Just have a quick read over it and have a look at it, and it will give you a better understanding of where the organization is and where it wants to be in the next few years too, and try and factor that into your thinking when doing your application as well. And most importantly, take time doing your application. Don't leave it until the night before or an hour before the deadline. Try and get it in as soon as possible. Take the questions offline and really sit down and think through them, and tweak it as much as possible, especially with the video elements. I know that some of the applications require some time on making a video. Put as much time as you can into that and really put your best foot forward if you can. On the internship as a whole, you really are part of a small family, especially under the internship team. The gang is incredible. They really look after you, and the training you get really sets you up for the 6 months that you spend in RTE. You'll get up to all sorts, regardless of what department you are placed in. For instance, a lot of us got to work on the Traders Uncloaked finale, which was a great day out. And again, you're only here for 6 months, so if you are lucky enough to get into RTE, the internship program, make the most out of it. Network, network, network. Get to know everyone you can while you're here, because once it's over, you'll regret not doing so. And if you are lucky enough to come and work in the RT Player, hopefully we'll see you on the team. It's really a great team. You know, you get up to so much, curating rails, looking at what's coming up and seeing how our audience can discover the content in a more accessible way, managing metadata from all production companies, both in Ireland and internationally, and also as well with the world that's dominated by streaming now. Streaming, going on to Player is going to be the future. So, working as part of that, particularly this year with new stuff coming up, is going to be really exciting. So if you are the Player intern, hopefully see you soon. But for all of you, best of luck. And of course, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to fire them ahead.
That's wonderful, Connor. Thank you so much. Delighted to have you here to tell us about your experiences, and obviously delighted that you're working back here with us now. And actually, you touched on a point there, and I just want to reiterate it one more time before we go to questions and answers. Please feel free, anyone who's attending, to drop in a question there into the question bar. It's at the top of your screen. But just before we get to that, if we have any, um, as Connor said about the videos, there's a couple of videos, or there's a couple of tasks, or there might be a couple of questions that you might think that maybe something that you might worked on previously, maybe for college, or something that you've submitted before to a different application or a different job might work in that area. We really try to discourage anyone from using any previous work, because what we are looking for in these applications is you in the here and the now, following the application form, following the prompts that we've given you, following the 250 word count on the paragraphs, following the 1 minute guide for the length of your video. Um, so really think about what you're saying and what you're creating and what you're submitting, and do it for yourself and do it for us in RTE so that we can see the person that you are. So submitting work that's already been looked at for maybe a college project or something that you did in the past won't really sit with this application. This application is for you, for the here and the now. So I don't think, Liliani, we have any questions in the questions bar. What I did while we were chatting was I put in our information page. There's a link there in the questions and answers. I've also put in a link to the recorded webinars. I've also put in the link to the vacancy page. So everything should be covered in those 3 links. If anyone has a question, please pop it into the questions and answer bar now. Liliani, have you anything else to say before we go, if I've forgotten anything?
No, so there were a couple of questions. I just answered them as I go, but I just repeat them just in case. So somebody asked if they can apply for more than one. And absolutely, like Emma mentioned that before, you can apply for as many as you want. If you want to apply for content creation and sport, you will have to submit 2 different applications, but absolutely you can. A couple more things. Darwin also has his hand up, so I'm going to see if I can unmute you. 1 second. Mm, Yes. It's not actually, I don't think I can unmute you. Sorry. I'm sorry about that. I can't unmute you, so you will have to pop the question in the Q&A. I'm very sorry about that. It is something we'll have to think about for next year. Very sorry. But there are a couple of more things that I've actually thought about. There were questions that came up before. So the internship is open to non-nationals as long as you have a valid work permit. In terms of age, there is no upper limit, but you must be 18 in order to apply. In terms of accommodation, we can provide information, but not necessarily help you, in order to get accommodation in Dublin if you are based outside of Dublin, or outside of Connemara if you're placed in Connemara, or Cork. The number of places we have 16 places this year. So there were 15 last year, and there's 16 in total this year. But some areas only have 1 intern, let's say. And let's see, there is a question here for design. Is there set design experience for someone looking to get into the set design in art direction?
We do have production design as part of the overall design department. So it's not specifically part of this internship, but you would certainly be working alongside production designers, and you'd meet all the team, and we're quite collaborative. But it's a little bit different to this internship.
And should you talk about your education rather than your experience? we're not necessarily looking for, information on your education. It's more about your experience, your enthusiasm for the area that you are applying for. So education, not necessarily. Let's see. More examples. Can you give more than one example of working as a team? Absolutely. Can you give more than one example of a media you're curious about? Absolutely. As many examples as you can fit into your word count, as long as you stay within the word count. What type of examples of platform can you put your video on, or audio? Whatever platform Vimeo or YouTube, wherever platform you use, as long as you can provide us with a link. And if it is password protected, as long as you give us the access to it, that's no problem, whatever platform you have. I know you have your hand. Somebody has their hand up, but I cannot unmute your microphone. Yes.
I see Darwin is in the room. Catherine, can you see Darwin? Darren speaking to you through ISL.
Just a moment.
Yeah, take your time. Find
Yes.
together mode.
Yes.
You can see them. Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I can see Darwin signing now. He said, "Thank you very much for letting me join here this evening. I'm so excited to see this is what RTÉ is doing. Now, after the 6 months of doing the internship, what are the opportunities after the 6 months?"
Okay, great question, Darren, and so delighted that you joined us here this evening. So the internship runs from end to end for 6 months. So it starts on June the 2nd and it runs to December the 4th. And then the internship ends. Now, while you are here as an intern and once you leave, there are jobs that become available to the general public that you can apply for. So once your internship ends in whatever area that you choose, should a public position come up in that area, you can join the public competition and apply for that job and go through the public competition. If it's another, excuse me.
When you say public, what do you mean by that?
That it's up on RTE.ie vacancies, that the job is posted for everyone to apply for. Does that make sense? Great. Liliani, am I covering that correctly?
Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah,
But I do have one more question, if I may.
Please, Catherine, go ahead. Or Darwin.
For me, it's now that I've seen the presentation, I am interested in all of the internships, because it seems like I've got an interest, like pieces of interest in each of them. How do I make the decision?
You are most welcome, Darwin, to apply, and this goes for everybody in the room. You are most welcome to apply to all of the internships or any of the internships that align closest to where your passion sits. So yes, if you're interested in media overall, naturally you'll have a little bit of design within you. You'll have a little bit of content creative. You'll have a little bit of commercial and etc. etc. Choose the internships that align where your passion sits the most. That would be our advice. But if you feel one is where it sits, apply for one. If it feels two, apply for the two. If it feels like it's all five, you are most welcome to apply for all five, as long as you can express on your application form that this internship aligns with where your passion sits.
Sorry, now there are lots of questions that I'm going to try and look at. Can you? Yes, that's fine. Expected hours for the internship. So it is a full-time role. So and the times will vary. For sport, there's a little bit of evening work and so on, but it is a full-time role. And let's see. Somebody's asking what's on April 8th and 9th. So April 8th is a full day assessment on site on campus in Donnybrook. And on the 9th of April is a chat. It's a half an hour conversation, and that will be done online. So that's what's on the 8th and 9th. For the content creatives program, what qualities have you seen in interns who really thrive in this environment? I think myself and Emma can have a little bit a stab at it. Enthusiasm, good, like if you're a good team player, you have a lot of your own initiative, you're not afraid to kind of share ideas,
And
maybe
you're open to change as well. You're open to kind of maybe stepping outside something that you've normally worked with all along, something that you might be comfortable with. So if you're, let's say, used to maybe doing a bit of radio in college or even interest in college, that you might actually find yourself working a little bit more aligned with our visual side of the house, and that you'd be open and ready to jump into that with your passion.
somebody then asked if they apply for content creation and broadcast, and so different ones. If I'm successful, which will RT decide my team, or is it possible to get 2 offers? I think it's unlikely that you will get 2 offers. You will probably be called for the assessment if you are successful, and yes, maybe then a decision will be made then. But unlikely that you will be, you'll be given 2 offers, because it is very competitive. It's just to give you an idea. Last year we had 15 interns and there were 1,300 applications. About 150 people were on site for the assessment day. So this is how competitive it is. So we don't have extra roles to sort of offer to people. So it is very competitive. Just to kind of give you an idea. That we've answered this one. Set design. I think this is for Mary. When it comes to advertising on RTE, what is the general idea when pairing advertising with content, how it's chosen and how it fits?
Sure. So it's less so about pairing the advertiser to the content. It's more about pairing the advertiser to the audience. So advertisers buy an audience, whether that be an age demo bracket or a gender-based buy or a content led buy, whether they want a sports audience, they want a news audience, a lifestyle audience. So that usually determines, I guess, where advertising appears. It's based on the target audience that the advertiser is looking for, which is wide and varied.
Great. Yeah. Thanks,
Thank
Mary.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mary. Would a video explaining who you are and why you want to get into the internship be appropriate for the content creation application?
I mean, if it follows the prompts, if you're most welcome to say whatever you want in your 1-minute video, as long as it follows the prompts and you've read the question clearly and you understand it, and the content that you submit to us is a true representation of what you've been asked, then yes.
Yes, but I think that the actual video for content creation is not so much about the who you are, right? That's more the question 1.
Yes, the question, yeah.
So just as you said, just make sure you read the prompt really carefully. For the content, should the we produce for the application be about RTE, about its content offerings, or should it be something we came up with entirely? I think we are looking for creativity. So something that you come up with, it's something that we would be interested in hearing. I think question 2 is a little bit more about, RT content and the content that is out there in general. But yes, something you come up with will be, we would be very interested in hearing that.
Yeah. I think we'll take one more question, Liliani.
Yeah.
If we have it.
Are the internships suitable for somebody who's considering a career change? And I think the answer to that is yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we've had great successes with career changers coming to RTE on the internship and coming to RTE as a whole. So we welcome career changers with open arms. Yes.
Yes. And as I said, there is no, upper limit, so age limit. So not clear. So just the last time somebody's asking, it wasn't clear on camera about the 8th and the 9th. So we will just repeat. The 8th is an assessment day that will be in Donnybrook. So you have to be available for the full day. And the 9th of April, it will be a chat and it will be online. And I hope that was clear. And I think we're just gone over the time as well. So I think we will say thank you to everybody who attended.
We
And
will
thank
for
you to our
sure.
guest speakers.
Absolutely. We want to thank everyone. We want to thank Claire Cunningham from Design, Mary Corcoran from Commercial, Liam Murray from Broadcast and Media Services, Connor Devlin, our past intern, and most importantly, we want to thank Catherine Walsh for providing our ISL interpretation this evening. And we'd like to thank everyone who joined us. And just to say, we didn't get a chance to get to everyone's questions. That is the nature of our webinars. Please feel free to drop us a line on internship@rte.ie if you have any questions about the internship. If you have any questions at all, one of us will endeavour to get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you all once again. Thank you, Liliani. Thank you to everybody, and we really look forward to getting all your submissions in the future. And best of luck.
Thank you.